Say hello to India's most powerful M340i. So let's not waste any time and directly talk about the elephant in the room. This massive KLM 6466 turbo. This thing is literally the size of your head, and as you can see, there's no air filter or nothing. The air filter is directly connected to the turbo. Now if you know your M340is and B58s especially, the turbo is actually kind of located underneath the engine, like right over there, but they've completely relocated the position of the turbo and now it's up over here right in your face. And there is a lot of more hardware on this car to make sure that this setup runs perfectly. You have stuff like a full CSF cooling kit, literally everything from the transmission cooler, auxiliary radiator, charge cooler to this intake manifold as well. Now this is not your regular intake manifold from CSF, this is the Race X, so it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more efficient. This car is also running port injection, dual waste gates, a KLM oil catch can kit, charge pipes, an LPFP. It's also running a blow-off valve as well. And take all of what I've just said together and you're looking at the most powerful M340i or B58 in the country. This thing is capable of making 780 horsepower on its high boost map setting. You have three different maps for this car. You have a low boost setting, a mid boost setting for daily driving, and a high boost setting. On the low boost setting, that's mainly for bad fuel quality. The car will make roughly around 620 horsepower even on the low boost setting. Bump it up to the daily map, which is the mid boost. This thing still makes a wild 712 horsepower, and crank it up to 11 and you have 780 horsepower. And well, close the hood, this thing looks like a stock M340i, and that absolutely baffles me. If you're a proper geek, the only thing that you would notice is probably the big brake kit up front from M Performance, but that's pretty much it. On the outside, apart from the big brake kit and maybe these carbon fiber mirror caps, this thing is bone stock. Everything from the wheels to the tires, I mean, there's nothing really that would give away that this thing makes 780 horsepower. Now such an intense hardware setup requires a very talented tuner, and Harmonix Tuning has chosen Kagan Tuning to tune this thing, and it's running a completely custom tune. Unlike a lot of other M340s that are there right now being tuned and everything, they run BM3 software with OTS maps. So basically, it's off-the-shelf maps. You can't really do much to it, and the power figures are very conservative. Whereas Kagan Tuning has done a custom tune, which means everything, every little detail, every little value has been customized to our Indian settings and to this car's particular hardware setup. And that's why this car runs so well. And I mean, this thing is absolutely ballistic. I already drove this car before I did this shot, and I have to tell you, I don't think any of the recent builds that I've covered have given me butterflies in my stomach, but this car surely has. So yeah, I mean, again, in the interior there's basically nothing when it comes to aftermarket stuff. You won't even understand that this car is such a high horsepower car. I mean, it's absolutely insane engineering from BMW's side as well, that they can make an engine like the B58 and do all of this crazy stuff, and it's still running on the stock ECU apart from the Femto unlock. Talking about the exhaust system setup, it's only running a downpipe from KLM, and the whole exhaust system is bone stock. And even with just the downpipe upgrade, this thing sounds absolutely beautiful. And this thing is also running a TCU tune from XHP, a stage 3 TCU tune. They are going to upgrade the gearbox because at the moment you can't really do launch control with this gearbox because something will blow at some point, and yeah, they want to preserve this gearbox. So at the moment, stock gearbox with a stage 3 XHP tune. So I'm now driving the KLM Turbo M340i. This thing makes ridiculous horsepower numbers. They have 3 different maps for this car. You have a low boost map, a mid boost map, and a high boost map as well. Today we are on the mid boost map, which makes roughly around 712 horsepower, and it's absolutely bonkers. We just saw the car do some flybys and stuff, and it sounds insane. I'm right now in D and in comfort mode, and it drives like any other M340i on the road. You can not even tell that this thing can make upwards of 700 horsepower. That's how easy it is to drive. The gearbox is very smooth, very calm. The engine doesn't do any sort of weird stuff when you're driving in comfort. Currently, the transmission is stock. They've not upgraded the transmission, so the car can't really launch because we'll break something for sure. But even without an upgraded gearbox, this thing is able to do like 11-second passes, high 10-second passes and all of that stuff. So let's just quickly put it into sports for the gearbox just to see how it is. And you can just hear that massive turbo spooling up. This thing is insane. That was barely half throttle, and once this turbo spools up, this is a different level of acceleration. And just a cool little thing, this thing is still giving 9.1 kmpl, which is insane for a 700 horsepower, 800 horsepower car. Should I put it into Sport Plus?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I mean, this thing is nuts. The way that the speedometer rose up in speed is just insane. I can't imagine how this thing would be with like a better set of tires and upgraded gearbox and everything, because this is one of the most potent platforms in the world right now, and Harmonix Tuning is one of the very few garages in India which are actually focusing on upgrading the B58 and extracting the full potential of this engine. I mean, the KLM 660 turbo also is not the biggest turbo that you can put on this car. In fact, the owner is going to upgrade to an even bigger turbo, but I think so a couple of other things need to be done before, like an upgraded transmission, some better wheels and some better tires as well. So yeah, I mean, this thing is absolutely mad. And let's do one little pull again. And even though this car is all-wheel drive, you still have a lot of torque steer because this thing is just so powerful. I mean, this is insane. And the fact that you can get an rear-wheel drive M340i in the States and stuff is just crazy. I mean, pushing this amount of horsepower on a rear-wheel drive car is just nuts. You definitely need X-Drive for all of this stuff. Insane. And one really important mod that the owner and Harmonix have done is upgrading the brakes. This now has the OEM big brake kit from BMW, and trust me, it makes a difference. Stock M340i brakes are and they definitely can't handle this sort of power. So yeah, a brake upgrade was definitely needed. Insane. This thing is absolutely bonkers. This is currently the most powerful and possibly the quickest M340i in India at the moment. When we were shooting, the car hadn't done any draggy runs or anything for the quarter mile. Doing those runs is anyways redundant at the moment since Harmonix doesn't want to engage launch control and break this gearbox. But a metric which actually gives you some perspective is the 100 to 200 kph time.
5.14 seconds.
Which is faster than most cars' 0 to 100 timings. Moreover, once Harmonix completely optimizes this setup, with the main thing being an upgraded gearbox, this thing can push its stock engine up to 950 horsepower with this current turbo. This turbo is rated to 1000 horsepower, but like we said, Harmonix will swap this turbo out for an even larger one, with the eventual goal with this particular build being 1200 horsepower and 1200 Newton meters of torque. We wanted to see if these claims were actually real. So we asked Harmonix to put their money where their mouth is and show us those numbers. So let's quickly get back to the dyno, because the thing is, it's very interesting. I've already driven two Stage 3 M340is, both were built by Harmonix. One was a pure 800 turbo one, and one is this one over here with the KLM 6466 turbo. And these are the graphs basically, and as you can see, the difference is massive. The red line over here on both the graphs is the pure 800 car, and the black line is the KLM car. So as you can see, the pure 800 car can push around roughly 587 horsepower and 643 Newton meters of torque. This is one of the more optimum runs with perfect temperatures, good fuel, and everything just fell in place. And this black line is the KLM car. This is also pretty much optimum conditions, and it managed to do 783 horsepower and 859 Newton meters of torque, which is absolutely insane. And that is the difference between a pure 800, which is basically the same position in terms of turbo, and a KLM, which is a top mounted turbo. I mean, this thing is ballistic. I mean, I can't tell you how insane it is to drive. Once you hit boost, there's nothing else that I've felt which is as aggressive as this KLM M340i. So that's it from my end. I hope to see this car at more events and doing draggy runs and drag racing and all of that stuff. So I'm pretty sure Harmonix will be doing it in the near future. First and foremost, they're going to start souping up the car a little bit more, built gearbox, better wheels and tires, and maybe some suspension in the future. But even as is, this is an absolute monster. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, and I'll catch you in the next one.